Hi, and welcome to Master Math. My name's Stan Lyle. Today we're going to discuss integers and absolute value. During the lesson, you're going to come across some you try it now problems. When you get to one, pause the video, pull out some paper and pencil, do the problem, and when you've got an answer you're happy with, hit the forward button to move on to the next slide. Today, we're going to discuss what an integer is and what absolute value means. An integer is a whole number. It has no fractions or decimals. It can be positive or it can be negative. Integers 1, 2, 3, 5, 286, they're just whole numbers, and those are integers. They can also be negative numbers like -6 or -85, and 0, which has no positive or negative sign, is also an integer. Lots of numbers are not integers, though. If they've got a fraction or a decimal, it's not an integer. 1/2, 2 1/8, -1 1/2 are not integers. Neither are 1.67, 2.25, or -6.5. Well, that was kind of easy. An integer is just a whole number. It doesn't have a fraction. It doesn't have a decimal associated with it. It's just a whole number. Absolute value is a little trickier. But let's see if we can get you to understand it. Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. Well, what's that mean? Well, let's look at the number line at the bottom. I've got in green on the number line, I've plotted where -8 is. Well, how far is -8 from 0? -8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units from 0. So, the absolute value of -8 is the distance from 0, or 8 units. Now, you probably saw on this number on the left that there were two vertical lines around the -8. Those two vertical lines are the absolute value symbol, and when you see them, you'd read the number as the absolute value of -8. And the absolute value of -8 is 8. Now, if we had a positive number, like that +4, and we wanted to get the absolute value, we'd find out the distance of that -4 from 0, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 from 0. So the absolute value of +4 is 4. The absolute value of -8 is 8. So again, the absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. Now, distance you always express in a positive number, as a positive number. The distance to Los Angeles is 1,250 miles. You wouldn't say the distance is -1,250 miles. It's a distance, it's always positive. The absolute value of every integer is a positive number. The absolute value of a number is the number without regard to its sign. So, the absolute value of -625 is 625. A few more examples. The absolute value of 250 is 250. You just take the number. If there's a negative sign in front of it, you get rid of it, and you get rid of the absolute value signs and just put down the number without regard to its sign. The absolute value of -6 is 6. You just get rid of the minus sign. The absolute value of a great big number, great big negative number in this case, -3,280 is 3,280. And the absolute value of 0 is 0. Now you try this one. The absolute value of -65. You may want to hit your pause button so you've got time to do this before you hit your forward button to get to the answer. The absolute value of -65 is 65. All we have to remember is if we've got an absolute value and we've got a negative sign, we just get rid of all the signs and put 65. Is this number an integer? Minus 65 and 2/3. Is minus 65 and 2/3 an integer? Well, let's figure that out. First, we got a minus sign. Does that impact whether it's an integer or not? No, it doesn't. An integer can be positive or negative. But we've also got a 2/3 at the end of the number, and integers can't have fractions or decimals. So no, it's not an integer. An integer is always a whole number. Try this one. You and your friend get on an elevator on the 10th floor. He goes up 2 floors. You go down 3 floors. Each floor is 15 feet higher than the previous floor. 2 questions. 1. How did each of your elevations change relative to the 10th floor? And 2. Who traveled the greatest distance, and what was that distance? Well, this one's a little bit trickier, but I drew you a picture to help you understand. We've got this really handsome high-rise building over here, and the storyline tells us that we start on the 10th floor, and that's the 10th floor right about there. Well, on the 10th floor, you're 10 floors above the ground, and each floor is a 15 feet increase above the ground, so 10 times 15 feet equals 150 feet. When you're on the 10th floor, you're 150 feet off the ground. Now, you start at the 10th floor, and your friend goes up 2 floors. Each of those floors is 15 feet, so he's going up 30 feet. 150 feet plus 30 feet is 180 feet. On the 12th floor, your friend's 180 feet above the ground. You, on the other hand, are going to go down. You're going to go down 3 floors. And again, each of those floors is 15 feet. So you're going to down 3 times 15 feet each is 45 feet. 150 feet minus 45 feet is 105 feet. All right. The question's asking us how much did each of your elevations change relative to the 10th floor? Well, your friend went up 30 feet. So his increased by 30 feet. You went down 45 feet to get to 105 feet. So your elevation relative to the 10th floor decreased by 45 feet. The second question is, who traveled the greatest distance? Well, now you remember, distance is always listed as an absolute value. Los Angeles is not minus 1,250 miles from your home, so distance is an absolute value. It's always a positive number. Your friend increased by 30, and the absolute value of positive 30 is 30 feet. You decreased by 45 feet, or you changed by negative 45 feet, but we got to get the absolute value of that, which is 45 feet, so you traveled the greatest distance. Try solving this expression. The absolute value of minus 6 plus 6. Solve this expression, the absolute value of minus 6 plus 6. Well, the first thing we've got to do is convert the absolute value of minus 6 to an integer. The absolute value of minus 6, we take out the minus sign, and the answer is 6. So we rewrite the problem 6 plus 6, which equals 12. Here's another one to try. Solve this expression. 18 minus the absolute value of minus 8. Solve this expression, 18 minus the absolute value of minus 8. Well, the first thing we've got to do is convert the absolute value of minus 8 to an integer. The absolute value of minus 8, as we all know by now, is just 8. So I replace the absolute value of minus 8 with 8 in the expression. I keep the 18 minus, and it becomes 18 minus 8, which is 10. Well, we've finished another perfectly good lesson at mastermath.info. Now it's time to test your skills. Go to www.mastermath.info, go to the Worksheets tab, and under 7th grade first quarter, download and print integers and absolute value. And come back to Mastermath real soon.